It is time for another update on how the yard looks. I'm going to take you on a tour, show you how everything's grown, and then I have a plan for another video to show you specifically some of the seeds that we purchased and how those plants are doing, some of my germination successes, some not so much. But real quick, I wanted to take you around the yard. This is a update. I'm going to try to go the same path of the last video so you can really do a compare and contrast. These are the bittermelon gourds. As you can see, they're not stringy little sprouts anymore. They've completely taken over this netting here on this side of the house, which I'm so happy about. I was kind of scared that maybe they were getting heat exhaustion, like heat stress, but they're doing really well. I'm even getting these really pretty blooms, which they're closing now. They're open more early in the day, but I haven't seen any gourd formation yet. So these may be the male flowers that are blooming first. I'm going to keep an eye on them, obviously. And oh, I am mistaken. Look what we have here. We have a bittermelon. Can you see it? Oh, I'm excited. I didn't even see this little guy here. Oh, this is great. Okay, we have bittermelon. Multiple ones. You see them there? And a white variety back there. Well, as you can see, I haven't gotten very close to these guys to do a really good inspection. I've been so busy with everything else going on in the yard. So I count 3 so far. I'm going to take a closer look after the video and see how many more I have and what's ready to be harvested. Look at these ones. There's 5. Cool. So if you're ever wondering what a bittermelon gourd looks like, they look like these. I'll harvest some of them and share. So I have some of my tomato experiments here. I built this kind of pagan looking tomato trellis, and it had a wildflower volunteer from last season. And what I thought was really cool was as this wildflower vine started growing, it actually intertwined itself to the tomato and is holding the tomato to this trellis for me. I didn't even have to attach the tomato on. So I'm gonna let these 2 guys figure it out, and I was gonna help this one back here along. I thought it was really neat though to use this vine as like an attachment point for the tomato to the trellis. These tomatoes were actually grown from seed. These are a Roma variety from the store. These are a store variety. And these back here are a beefsteak variety. So we'll see how these do. Now moving on to the path that we took in the last video. This is the mulberry that was about yay big last time we seen it. And you can see just how big it's grown in one season. It is huge. It's taller than me, which isn't saying much. I'm only like 5'3" on a good day, but it's huge. It's more than 6 foot tall. This is the white, and this is the Thai. As you can see, the white and the black native have the large, broad leaves. They're also much taller than the Thai down here. It's still short, but it's grown so much since the last video. It's also, if you can't tell, greener. We had to make some adjustments. I started adding a little bit more fish emulsion and chicken poo compost to help with its nutrients, and we really turned her around. She even has fruit. So if you've never seen a Thai mulberry, you have now. They're obviously really small because she's just getting started, but this area we've now filled in with pumpkins. There's 3 different varieties over here. I'm going to go through specifically what types of pumpkins I have planted, what types of corn. Like back in here we have corn. These are an heirloom German pink tomato. Now I planted these late in the season, so I'm not really expecting them to do much. I'm just surprised they're not more stressed by the heat. So this is the butterfly area, butterfly bird bath, bird feeding area. Last time I showed you this, the marigolds were probably an inch tall. Now they're blooming. They're so beautiful. These are volunteers from the bird food. Volunteer from the bird food. And we also have some beans and pumpkins. So as you can see, we've added more mulch, more plants and seeds. Over here, we have definitely spruced up this side of the yard. You can see these beautiful wildflowers. I've planted more corn here. We have blackberry trellises we put in now. They are obviously high enough for us to walk under, so hopefully one day we'll be able to gallivant under the blackberries. We may add more. We haven't really decided yet, but we have all the thornless blackberries here. Pumpkins. And as you can see, we have filled in the yard. Lots and lots of mulch, creating this wonderful habitat. And I'm going to go through here and we'll talk specifically about all of these plants in here in just a moment. All right, so we're back over here on the northwest end of the yard. We decided to make this side of the yard the sweet potato patch. The vines, as you can see, are filling in a lot, which is awesome. So these are the Beauregard sweet potatoes we bought from Urban Farmer. They're vining out, which I've been trying to keep them in this general area because I do have pumpkins planted all the way around. But, you know, they travel. In general, they're moving around as they see fit. I have some pumpkin varieties here that are coming up. Again, I'll go through my actual seed packs and show you what they are and where I got them from. But look at these sweet potatoes. I cannot wait to try these sweet potatoes. We have more pumpkins and more corn coming up. I was told no less than a dozen times that you cannot grow corn in Central Florida, and I didn't listen. I wanted to grow corn, so I have corn. These are pumpkins though over here. This variety is a Cinderella pumpkin. It has been the most prolific in its growing and germination rate than any of the other varieties. This is one I'm definitely going to save seeds and do again. We're already getting flowers. This is the only one that's flowered. I'll go through and I'll pull the dates of when I planted all of these seeds. But as you can see, like see the baby? We have just filled in this area. We're trying to do something for the fall. It's hot in Florida. It's 100 degrees every day the last 2 weeks. We're hardly getting any afternoon rain. So all of these plants are heat stressed. Even the pumpkins are getting heat stressed. I'm trying to mist and cool their environment a little bit during the day because they're hot. I mean, yeah, we know pumpkins, they can grow full sun, they can handle the heat, but they can't always, as a squash or gourd, handle such humidity and 100+ degree heat. So it's definitely, I think, stunted the growth of some of them. So we're going to go through here, and the ones that are doing really well, that are early germinators, I've marked them. The ones that are going to be like early flowering and producing fruits, and then I'm going to pick the best looking fruits from those plants and keep the seeds, so that hopefully next year we'll have an even fuller crop. But I'm really, really happy with how these turned out. We filled in this whole area last. Like, as you can see, here's the gate. In the other video, I don't even think any of this mulch was here. I added these trellises. I put 2 different kinds of small, like 3-inch pumpkins along these trellises. They're little bitty things right now, but hopefully they'll grow and they'll fill in the trellis by the fall. And then corn, another variety of corn back here. These are a Connecticut field pumpkin. And again, I have some more German pink heirloom tomatoes out here, but they're so heat stressed. I planted them late in the season. It's my fault. It's my fault I didn't get the seeds until way late, and so they weren't quite big enough to be able to stand up to the heat and the sun for Florida, Central Florida. So I'm gonna do better next year. I'm gonna get them started earlier. There's also a couple varieties over here of different pumpkins. These are the last planted pumpkins. So they're smaller than the rest of them because they're the most recently planted, but I think also because they're just not a variety that handles the heat very well. So I'm just gonna show you how my tomato ring was doing. I think my first garden tour I did, this ring was underneath our tangerine tree on the other side of the house. As you can see, I use it as a compost. It's one of our 4 composts. I throw the food in there. Obviously it breaks down, it feeds the tomatoes. I have been feeding them weekly with fish emulsion, probably not as much as like an organic gardener would, but just a little bit to give it some extra food. And as you can see, I have tons of tomatoes, tons of cute little tomatoes. They're small, they're really good for salads. I like them a lot, mostly because they are less susceptible to bug invasion and blights or rots, I guess you could say, because they're tiny, so they are going to ripen faster. And they have, like, my beefsteak tomatoes have a lot more issues at the end than these tomatoes do. Now, as you can see, this is a beefsteak and it has completely fallen here. So this little guy is going to get weighed, or going to get staked up because he's weighed down. But the little cherry tomatoes are doing fantastic. So I kept some of my favorite ones over the last month and a half or so to keep seeds, because I really want to grow this again. So I kept some of my favorite, like, bright red, beautiful ones to grow these again in the spring. But I didn't pick them today because I wanted you guys to see them. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the update. As you can see, we've definitely gotten an obsession with mulch. We're so happy with how everything has, like, just flourished. We're trying to keep it alive. Some of these pumpkin varieties are definitely not going to grow again because they just don't seem to be able to hold up to the heat, which is okay. You know, it's not their fault. They were, you know, grown and raised and selected in different states, but the ones like these guys over here, these fairy tales and these Cinderellas, will definitely do again. So enjoy their little sweet potatoes. I wish the flower was blooming and I could show you that. It closed up. It was blooming yesterday. And I will update you on the rest of the pumpkins in just a bit.